All right, so if any of you have ever, if you ever talked to me personally, I've probably told you in a conversation that there's a difference. I believe there's a difference between deer hunting and hunting for a mature buck. Okay, and I kind of want to, just a question: are you deer hunting or are you hunting a deer? Um, I'm really hunting a deer or two, and I want to give you why I'm coming up with that. One square mile, 640 acres. In Mississippi, we're blessed to have a good deer population. One of the densest deer populations, if not the most dense deer population in the country, at 40 deer per square mile. So if you think that there's only, we say only, because actually 640 acres, some of us are thinking, man, 40 deer, that's not really that many on 640 acres. But compared to the rest of the nation, that's a lot of deer on 640 acres. And actually, a lot of Mississippi does not have the habitat to let those 40 deer, the mature bucks and the bucks on that 640 acres reach their potential, because our habitat cannot support them growing to their full potential. They don't grow big antlers eating pine needles. So 40 deer per square mile, I'm going to be very generous and give us a 1-to-1 buck to doe ratio of 20 bucks and 20 does. Most of the time it's not going to be that good. We're going to have more of a 2-to-1. So you can exaggerate this, but just for argument's sake of letting us see this on the board, we've got 20 does. I'm just going to say 10 mature does that are actively, having little ones, and then we got 10 yearlings and fawns coming up. Now look, I won't pretend to be a biologist, so that may some of these numbers, but you'll be able to get the idea. And then we've got 20 bucks over here, and I'm going to start at the bottom. We've got 8, button heads and little spikes, and then 8 button heads, little spikes, and 1.5-year-olds. Sometimes we get some 1.5-year-olds that may be a 4 or 6. If we're really blessed with a deer has a good genetics and some decent nutrition, every now and then we get that deer, that 1.5-year-old, that may even have a good 6 or 8 point basket rack. And then I'm just going to say we have 4 2-year-olds. And then we have 4 3-year-olds. This number is going to go down as they get older because they usually don't make it that far. But this is being very generous. Then we have 2 4-year-olds and 2 5-year-olds. So if we look at this on 640 acres, 10% or less, because we don't know, it just depends on what your buck to doe ratio is and how well has the property been managed of creating an older deer age structure. But on this example, just for argument's sake, we've got 10% or less of the deer, this 40 deer on this property. We have 4 of them that are in the 4 to 5 plus range, okay, year-old range. So if you think about it, 10% of 40 deer on 640 acres. So on 640 acres, you're hunting, if you're wanting to hunt mature deer, you're hunting 4 deer, okay? And then if you divide that 640 acres into all the different blocks, hunting parcels that are around you, say you're blessed and you only have 100 of that 640 acres, okay? Now look, we can get into deer home ranges and all that, but we're going to talk about these deer's core home range area, and it's just averaged out 40 deer per square mile. So if you go dividing this by your 100 acres and the deer that are on your property, you can easily see that you really are hunting more like 1 to 2 deer, if lucky, that they may be traveling through your 20. And you might say, well, man, that's discouraging. I only have 20 acres, or I only have 40 acres, or I only have 60 acres. How can I do this? You can do it. You can have the best habitat and the lowest amount of hunting pressure in the neighborhood, and you can be the one harvesting those one or two deer a year if nobody, because what I believe is, I believe less than 10% of hunters are actually hunting mature bucks. Most hunters are just deer hunting and praying and hoping that they're lucky enough to kill a mature animal, okay? But most deer hunters are just deer hunting, and every year they may kill a 2-year-old legal deer, or be blessed and feel blessed and kill a 3-year-old deer. But there's very few hunters each year that are consistently killing 4 or 5-year-old deer. I believe those 90% of hunters are just deer hunting, and every 5 to 10 years they get lucky and they kill a mature trophy animal. I just got to the point where I didn't want to just be lucky, and if I wasn't able to kill a mature animal every 5 to 10 years, it just got to the point where it wasn't worth it to me. So I had to change some things. And that's what I want to see for those of you that want to kill mature animals on a more consistent basis. We've got to get a different mindset of that. We're not just deer hunting. We're hunting a deer or two, and we have got to learn to think like those mature animals. So I hope that gives you some perspective about what it takes to consistently hunt and kill mature bucks, is that you've got to have a 10% or less mindset than other hunters. And look, if you just enjoy going out there, and now I'm not saying, don't use it as an excuse. Don't use it as an excuse because you don't want to change or you don't want to put forth the effort. But if you truly just enjoy going out there and seeing deer, and maybe shooting one doe and 1, 2, or 3-year-old a year, then that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you desire to kill a mature deer every year, at least every other year, it is doable. But you just have to make some changes, one, to your hunting tactics and manage your hunting pressure better, and just be willing to change and learn. 2, it takes a lot of work on a small piece of property to make deer feel comfortable, to make it attractive. But the hardest part of that is managing your hunting pressure and just becoming stealthy, and hunting like a predator, where that deer just doesn't know you're there and he feels comfortable on your piece of property out of that other, if you got 100 acres out of 640, he feels more comfortable on your 100 acres than he does on the other 540. So that's just got to be your goal and your mindset. Hope that helps a little.